Why athletes make the best entrepreneurs? At one point in my life, I was an athlete. I remember going to college preseason workouts. Obviously, I always had a chip on my shoulder because I never obviously looked like your typical basketball player. But I get up there and there's another guy that looks very similar to me. Short, white guy. My first thought, I gotta beat him. His name was Michael Mays Jr. Needless to say, he killed me. Not even killed me, like embarrassed me. And I was legitimately confused. I had been beaten before, obviously, and it was because, they were bigger, faster, stronger, but he was my size, actually a little bit smaller. Funny enough, Mike actually just finished his senior year and finished like top 10 in the scoring in the NCAA, and he's getting ready to play overseas. Back then, I did not know that. How could he be this much better than me? I always had made sure that I was one of the hardest, if not the hardest working people on the team. It wasn't until I started hanging out with Mike, though, that it hit me. The key difference between him and I was that I was always the hardest working, but I never truly worked my hardest. Mike worked his hardest every single day, and when I realized that, I realized how much time I had wasted and lost, and it made me sick. And at the age of 18, I realized I never wanted to have that feeling again. So why do athletes make good entrepreneurs? Are you an athlete? Should you consider it? Let's break it down. The love of the game. Steph Curry, Patrick Mahomes. Watching them makes you happy because they're happy. They enjoy the game, and if they had to play it for free, they wouldn't bat an eye. Entrepreneurship is the same way. You quite literally just have to fall in love with this process. I genuinely enjoy working 60 plus hours a week, and obviously most people won't understand loving this type of process. The same process that you kind of have in sports, that the games and the big plays are great. If you still enjoy going to the practices, the weightlifting, the opportunity to just try to get a little bit better every day, it's a very similar feeling. Next is the even playing field. Certain people, they're always going to have advantages. Some may be bigger, faster, whatever. It's the same with business. Some people are just gonna have more money. It's okay. When I got started in the summer job, though, I worked in construction. I was the low man on the totem pole because I was the new guy, and I was also the youngest, and I was fine with that. What I didn't like, though, was that I was always in the back of the line automatically. It didn't matter how good I was or how hard I worked. The guys that had been in the longest got paid the most. I had a coworker, and this guy, his name was Jace. He was an awesome guy. He was mid-50s. He was honestly an alcoholic, but we were both basically laborers, so we did all the hard stuff. We would often be by ourselves cleaning up, and when it was just us, he would honestly just take a seat and do the very bare minimum of work. We were paid the exact same. We were paid for our time. We weren't paid for the value that we provided. What's the point of working your hardest? And at that point, I realized that one of my best assets, which was my ability to innovate and make things happen, and in that job, I wasn't being rewarded for anything. It doesn't matter that for all my life, I was the slow white boy that didn't have a vertical, and that was holding me back. It was literally just who's going to hold out longer in the fight. Who was going to work longer hours. When I realized that, I was like, okay, that's easy. Next, the Renaissance man effect. Basketball, football, baseball, soccer, track. You enjoy them all. You want to try everything. Why do you think that working a 9-to-5 every day is going to fill that need to explore new things? How are you going to explore those new heights when you do the same thing over and over and over again? Even the top athletes, they have this itch to try things new. Lionel Messi, he owns hotels, wines, he works with Jacob & Co. LeBron James, he's a co-owner of Beats by Dre. He has a full production company. Most people think athletes just think about their sports, when in reality, most athletes also enjoy a lot of other things. They want to experience new opportunities in business. That same drive translates. There's a very strong connection between sports and entertainment. The entertainment always wants to be the athletes, and the athletes always want to be the entertainment. It's all the same thing. They are all wired the same way. The next factor is the need for competition. This is the Mamba effect. This is going to be the most competitive game that you can play. The clock doesn't stop. There is no break. There's no timeouts. There's no practice. It is literally just one big game. When you think about playing in this one big game, don't worry about the other people that are playing the game. Just focus on trying to survive and stay in the game. It's hard enough that most people just honestly aren't going to last, and that's okay. It's not meant for everybody, but if you enjoy competing every single day with yourself, it's gonna be a fun game to play. Think about it more of a race against yourself. You're just trying to beat yourself a little bit every single day. The difference between sports and business, though, is that there is enough opportunity out there. Their success doesn't mean a negative to you. It's not like in sports where only one team can win. Everybody can win, and you can actually think of everybody else as almost teammates. teammates helping you hit your goals. And if you think that way, your mindset's going to be a lot better, and you're going to have people to push you along the way. So if you're still thinking like an athlete, here's some industries that I would look into. The first one is going to be something that I did, and that's starting your own business. Here's the caveat. Do not start a business like everybody else that wants to start one. Don't start a clothing brand. Don't start a production company, music career, none of those. I tried being a photographer. It didn't work. I had to go back to doing the boring businesses. Instead of working with sports, I work with businesses. Think logistics. Think of ways to solve a problem. The world doesn't need another clothing brand. What they do need is a company that can fix the sewing machines for when they break. That's what the world needs. Another option is going to be sales related. This is a great area and skill. That skill is going to be based strictly around the effort that you put into it. Obviously not meant for everybody, but you get an amazing thrill off of making a sale. But you're not going to be paid an hourly wage. It's going to be strictly off of the money that you bring in. And here's the thing, that I love sports, and there's nothing like it. Finding work that you love is also going to be one of the most fun games that you play. Maybe you have that drive that you want to keep pushing through. And if that's the case, think about some of those ideas or start researching at some other ideas. Many athletes, after they graduate and they finish their career on everything, they just go right back into sports. The only reason they do that is because that's the only thing that they've tried and loved so much. But if you try different things, maybe along these scopes, you're going to find something that you are just as passionate about.